Welcome! Today, we're diving deep into the history of Vancouver, one of Canada's most iconic cities. Known for its breathtaking landscapes, diverse culture, and vibrant economy, Vancouver has a rich history spanning centuries. In this episode, we'll explore Vancouver's transformation from Indigenous land to a bustling international city. Part 1: Indigenous Peoples and Early Settlements. Long before Vancouver became a city, it was home to the Coast Salish Indigenous peoples, including the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh nations. These communities thrived here for thousands of years, living off the land and the sea. They had a profound connection to nature, depending on fishing, hunting, and gathering, and had their own languages, social structures, and spiritual beliefs. Vancouver's geography played a significant role in their way of life. The Fraser River, Burrard Inlet, and the surrounding forests provided ample resources. They lived in longhouses and used cedar wood for everything from canoes to clothing. Part 2: Early European Exploration and the Fur Trade. European contact with the Vancouver area began in the late 18th century. British Captain James Cook was one of the first explorers to sail through the region in 1778, although he didn't set foot in what is now Vancouver. Soon after, in 1791, Spanish explorers led by Captain Jose Marinarvez mapped parts of the coast. British explorer George Vancouver, after whom the city is named, arrived in 1792 and thoroughly mapped the coastline. This exploration opened the area to European interest, particularly in the lucrative fur trade. The Hudson's Bay Company and Northwest Company began trading with indigenous communities, exchanging European goods for valuable sea otter pelts, which were in high demand in China. Part 3: The establishment of Fort Langley and the Fraser River Gold Rush. In 1827, the Hudson's Bay Company established Fort Langley along the Fraser River as a trading post for the fur trade. Fort Langley became a central hub for trade, attracting both indigenous peoples and settlers. This trading post also marked the beginning of European settlement in what would later become British Columbia. In 1858, the discovery of gold in the Fraser River sparked the Fraser River Gold Rush, drawing thousands of miners, mainly from California. This rush brought a surge of settlers to the area and led the British government to declare British Columbia a colony in order to assert control over the region. Part 4: Founding of Granville and the Canadian Pacific Railway. In the early 1860s, a settlement began to develop around a sawmill at the edge of Burrard Inlet. This settlement was known as Granville, although locals called it Gastown after Gassy Jack Dayton, a colorful saloon owner who set up one of the first bars in the area. Gastown quickly became a gathering place for workers from nearby mills, sailors, and prospectors. By the 1880s, Canada was newly unified, and the government needed a transcontinental railway to link British Columbia with eastern Canada. The decision to extend the Canadian Pacific Railway CPR to Granville was a pivotal moment, as it provided a direct connection to the rest of the country. Granville was incorporated as the City of Vancouver in 1886, and with the completion of the CPR, the city became a key port for trade between Canada, Asia, and beyond. Part 5: The Great Vancouver Fire and Rapid Growth. Only months after its incorporation, Vancouver was struck by the Great Vancouver Fire, which destroyed much of the city. However, the city quickly rebuilt, and with its strategic location as a port and railway terminus, Vancouver's population and economy grew rapidly. Industries like logging, shipping, and fishing flourished. The city's natural beauty and access to resources attracted immigrants, particularly from China, Japan, and Europe. Many Chinese immigrants came during the construction of the CPR, and after its completion, they formed a vibrant Chinatown. Meanwhile, Japanese immigrants settled in areas like Powell Street, establishing Japantown. Part 6: Early 20th Century Expansion and Economic Boom. By the early 20th century, Vancouver had become a bustling hub. The forestry industry boomed, as did fishing and mining. The city expanded rapidly, and areas like Stanley Park were developed to create green spaces within the urban landscape. The 1920s were a period of prosperity, with Vancouver experiencing a construction boom, creating the skyline that would define the city. However, the Great Depression in the 1930s hit Vancouver hard, especially affecting industries like logging and fishing. Part 7. World War II and the Transformation of Vancouver. World War II transformed Vancouver once again. The city became a vital base for Canada's Pacific defense, with the shipbuilding industry experiencing significant growth. Vancouver's Japanese-Canadian community, however, faced great adversity. In 1942, Japanese Canadians were forcibly relocated and interned, and their properties were confiscated. This event left a lasting impact on Vancouver's cultural and social fabric. Following the war, Vancouver entered a period of economic prosperity. The port grew in importance, and new waves of immigrants arrived, particularly from Europe, Asia, and the United States, contributing to Vancouver's multicultural identity. Part 8. Post-war boom and cultural diversity. The post-war years saw rapid urban development, with new neighborhoods, highways, and bridges connecting Vancouver. Immigration from Asia and Europe continued, diversifying Vancouver's population and shaping the city's character. During the 1960s, immigration from Hong Kong and China increased, leading to the growth of a vibrant Chinese community. In 1971, the city rejected a plan for a major freeway system that would have cut through the city's downtown, opting instead for a focus on public transit and green spaces. This decision helped preserve the character of neighborhoods like Gastown and Chinatown, reinforcing Vancouver's commitment to sustainability and urban beauty. Part 9. Expo 86 and Vancouver on the world stage. The 1986 World Exposition, known as Expo 86, was a milestone for Vancouver. The event celebrated Vancouver's 100th anniversary and brought international attention to the city. Expo 86 led to significant infrastructure development, including the construction of the SkyTrain, the first rapid transit system in Canada, and major expansions of Vancouver's port. Expo 86 also introduced Vancouver to the world as a global city, attracting investment, tourism, and new residents from around the globe, particularly from Asia. The city began to grow as a hub for trade, finance, and technology. Part 10. Modern Vancouver, a global city. In the 1990s, Vancouver continued to grow, attracting immigrants from around the world, especially from Hong Kong and mainland China. This wave of immigration further diversified the city's cultural landscape and contributed to its economic development. Vancouver's economy diversified into technology, film, tourism, and finance. The 2010 Winter Olympics in Vancouver was another milestone, showcasing the city's natural beauty and welcoming spirit. This event brought international recognition and led to improvements in infrastructure, including the Canada Line SkyTrain, linking the city center to the airport. Today, Vancouver is known for its multicultural population, sustainable urban planning, and natural beauty. The city faces challenges like housing affordability and environmental sustainability, but continues to be a hub for innovation, tourism, and culture. From its Indigenous heritage to its present status as a thriving international city, Vancouver's history is one of resilience, transformation, and diversity. It's a city where cultures converge and nature and urban life coexist. Vancouver's journey from its beginnings as Indigenous land, through periods of exploration, growth, adversity, and prosperity, has made it one of the most unique cities in the world.